Welcome in, everybody. This is the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff YouTube channel. My name is Dan C. Bearded. I am a co-host of this live stream that is titled Doctor's Orders. I'll tell you guys about that in a second, but I would like to introduce this gentleman next to me here. This is the allergy king. This is the entrepreneur guru. This is the long beard. Don't get confused with ZZ Top. Nick, aka Dr. Nick. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing fantastic. Yeah, I'll sound like I'm like, I don't know, just getting off of a 16-hour flight or something. Allergies kicking my ass, but that's not going to keep me down. I'm doing good. Episode number 40 is in full effect. Can't even believe it. Here we are.
Man, we were talking about that earlier, and I think it's easy to say like 40, right? 40 episodes, this, that, but it's 40 weeks. Like 40 weeks. There's only 52 weeks in a year. That's it. For me, it just does. I'm not even just saying this, you guys. It just doesn't seem possible that we've done this for 40 weeks. Like it does really not seem possible. We're coming up on a year, dude.
Dude, I have no idea how. Like that's literally 12 more of these, and we'll have done a year's worth of weekly live streams without missing one, regardless of travel, vacations, kids, schools, sickness. Yeah, whatever, here we
Ailments.
are. Yeah. I mean, here we are days. Every Tuesday, 1 o'clock.
Crazy.
Once in a while, 7 o'clock, but we're still here.
Absolutely. And even those switch up times are purposeful and try to grab new audience and new time zones. And with that said, guys, speaking of grabbing a new audience, if you don't mind, if you could do two things real quick here. They're both free, right? People talk about, I would love to support, but I don't have money. These are free, you guys. All of you can help support by doing this. Hit the thumbs up on the YouTube video right now. And then secondly, this is really how you grow that audience is by sharing. I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and they might be in the chat. They're usually a frequent viewer of this stream. And they said, hey, man, it's been crazy at work. I try to share your stuff more often, but I don't like to share it from work. And it just kind of gets away from me. But I want to do more sharing. I wish I could do more, but I will try to do sharing. And I'm like, man, when you have somebody personally share something like a stream like this, or they tell somebody or they text somebody, that's the most potent version of advertising. That's the most potent version of growing a platform like this, because it's attached to you. It's attached to some people that know you. Oh, he's vouching for this. He's wanting people to go there. So if you guys share this out on your social media, text message, whatever works for you, that is truly the biggest way to be able to get out the word about this show. Maybe people learn. Maybe people have a little bit of a stress-free hour. Maybe they just enjoy themselves, find a new community, find a new company. It's all a net positive for us. So again, guys, two things. If you could hit the thumbs up and you would share, that would mean a lot to us.
Dude, and you can share it ahead of time too. If you don't want to share it from work, boom, go to the YouTube page. It'll show upcoming. Just click that share button. It'll give you a link and boom, shoot it out.
Absolutely. And thank you, Leo. Yep. 40 episodes in a row. Pretty dang cool.
Sir.
Yep.
I think you've been here for like all 40 of them too, Leo.
So many of the people in here have, man. It's so cool. In the middle of the day on a Tuesday. Love it. Hey, it's a good question. Let me know, guys, the most recent scent that you have wore from Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff. What's the most recent one, whether it's in right now, yesterday, last week? We know that you guys have beautiful rotations, but what is the most recent scent that you have worn? Nick, what about you?
Are
we twinning today? Are we twinning today?
We might be.
We didn't even talk about it. I meant to talk about it beforehand.
Yeah, that's it. We didn't even talk about it beforehand, but no, I got that key lime pie in today, man.
I do too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. No,
what are you thinking? So this is not rehearsed, because by the way, I texted Dan this morning, like, I know I came in last week. You haven't said anything. Do you like it? He's like, I'm trying it for the first time today. And we have yet to talk about it yet. So I'm getting my feedback live with you guys.
Yep. And this is one that Chris B helped develop, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So the key lime pie, I was worried, okay? I don't like dessert scents. I don't like food scents. I don't like any of those kind of scents. However, I was optimistic because it's essential oils.
Right.
Normally,
it's not gonna be sugary and sweet, and it's not gonna.
I don't like Yankee candles on my face. Right?
No,
almost
sir.
Always when it gets into that food category, that dessert category, it smells like a Yankee candle. It smells like not cough syrup, but like syrup, sugary syrup, cornstarch. What's the, I'm blanking again.
High fructose corn syrup. Like,
yes, like that's what
like
smells
like syrup sugar.
Yep. And I don't want that, right? I don't like that. But I was like, okay, let me give this a chance because it is an essential oil. First impression, it is a lighter scent, which I was happy with. I don't want something overpowering that's going to smell like that. Second is it's really enjoyable. I really like the lime in it. I can't
Mm-hmm.
describe what the other essences of those scents are, but it's there. I don't know exactly what it is, what blend Jill put together, but I actually enjoy it. It's
Dude,
not going to
there's something
dethrone.
about it.
Yeah, it's not going to dethrone IPA or number 7 for me. I'm not going to give fake hype and say, "Oh, it's the new greatest thing that's ever been made," even though that would help me sell these things, right? I still will take number 7. I will still take no IPA. I'll still take Yule Tree, but I think this firmly falls into that next slot for me. I
Oh,
think it
wow.
passes.
Good.
Yeah, I think it passes 21. I think it passes 18.
See, that's
And
impressive. That's
yeah,
impressive coming from you on this one because I know you're
yeah,
not a dessert scent guy or a food scent guy, and neither am
no,
I. And I knew I wasn't going to dethrone 7 IPA or Yule Tree,
right.
but I figured it would be up there just because of the vanilla notes and the lime notes that are in there. Like it all
Oh, it's
comes
the
together and
vanilla.
forms this new thing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is the vanilla, but it's not the vanilla that I'm used to. I'm guessing.
Right.
We haven't talked about this. I'm guessing that this is a vanilla extract scent. Is that correct? Or some version of that?
It's a vanillin based essential oil. So
Okay.
when you buy vanilla essential oils, it comes in the percentage of vanillin that's inside the essential oil, which is what actually like gives it the real that super
Ah,
vanilla scent. So it's a real vanillin. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I've never heard of that. I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
anything
crazy. And
about
you
that.
won't in the fragrance oil world. Like there is no
Interesting.
concept of vanillin.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I didn't know that either. It's like, but dude, like if you get like, but I don't even know, Jill can keep me honest here, but if it's like, I think it's like, if you go way up there and get like the 40% vanillins, even wholesale, those get over $180 an ounce.
wow.
It's insane prices.
Yeah, I know real vanilla is super expensive as well. Like we don't have a lot of it here in the US. You go to Mexico, you go to these other places that's really expensive.
Oh yeah, vanilla beans, man. It's like those things are like black gold.
Yeah. So interesting, interesting. Okay, so multiple citrusy fruits blended with vanilla. Okay, that would explain why I really do like this. Why it's something that is play. I'll be honest, man. I I was really worried because I don't like. So for a living, I review things, right? And so I'm forced to put things in my beard that I don't like far more often than I probably should. And my review for this week is a trimmer. So I had like an open slate. I'm like, yes, I don't have to really super worry about these things. And the other ones that I'm reviewing coming up in the next few weeks are like affiliates and things that I've used before.
Stuff
So
you know
I,
you like, or at
yeah,
least know you like the bases.
exactly. And so when I get those free days, it's like, woo, celebrate. I get to do IPA. Do you know how hard it is to say I can use IPA today, but I'm
But
going
I'm
to try
gonna,
this thing that I might not like?
oh, dude, that's gotta be tough.
It's unique, and I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, poor Dan has to use somebody," but I get it. But I really wanted IPA, and I was so happy when I put it in beard. It was strong right away, and then it kind of faded, dissipated as time went on. But it is really, really enjoyable, like genuinely enjoyable. It's that nice citrus
Love it.
and vanillin. Is that how I say it?
Yeah, it's vanilla essential oil, but it's a vanillin content. It's an essential oil with high vanillin content.
Wow. Okay. So I like it. Now, Jill's dropping some knowledge on us here, guys, and everyone's asking, "Did I miss this?" Yeah, so we've talked about it a couple times. The developing, we just kind of were like, "Should we talk?" And just dropped it. This month, big month, guys.
Mm,
Key lime pie is dropping. Growth stimulator is dropping. It is going to be Christmas in July, which means Yule tree. And
mhm.
if you guys like the combo, or if you guys like the smaller washing conditioners, those 4 ounces, they're going to be back as a bundle together, and you're going to save actually more money than what it was originally listed as.
Yeah, you'll save a decent amount because instead of being $12 each for those 4 ounces, you're going to get a 4 ounce wash and 4 ounce conditioner together for $20. So
There you
you end
go.
up saving $4, which is cool. And just it's nice for people that don't know if they want it. And what we found was there was more people buying the 4 ounces that it was like their first purchase of it. Like they weren't sure if they were going to like it or not. Or maybe there are people who hadn't used a beard wash before and they were trying one for the first time. And what I noticed looking at inventory, is that people, when they were dipping their toe in the water, like, I've never tried a beard wash before, I'll give it a shot. 4 ounces, $12, sure. They didn't buy the conditioner with it sometimes. And I don't want people to experience their first time using a beard wash as just a straight beard wash. Like, you should be conditioning after you put a wash through there. So I like the idea of selling it as a set, because then if someone wants to dip their toe in the water, we're kind of forcing them to do it right and use a wash and a conditioner. So
yeah, and stuff that you guys won't see. When that original launch went with the 4 ounce wash and conditioner, there were a lot of people buying only the washes. Nick, Jill didn't even say anything, but a lot of those customers, a lot of those first time customers, they just threw a conditioner in for free silently anyway. And again, it wasn't posted on social media. It wasn't them bragging about it anywhere. They didn't tell me to say this. They didn't say like, oh, we're hiding this, we want to be humble stuff. They just did it because of that reason. Nick's like, man, I want them to experience this conditioner. I want them to know how good this is. And they just tossed it in there for free randomly and silently. They didn't do it for applause. They didn't do it for any content, and nothing would be wrong with those reasons of doing that. But they just tossed it in. That just goes to show like the actual integrity and intentions of this company. It really does.
Yeah, man. We want people to, we want people to get the whole picture, and also the last thing I want is someone that's going out in a limb and, maybe people don't have a lot of cash to spend or whatever else. So I don't want them to spend whatever they can and then not be happy with it. That'll just leave a bad taste in their mouth and make me sad.
Yeah, so, absolutely. And I'm pleasantly surprised here. I would have thought that key lime pie was going to be a seasonal or a limited, and Jill says it's permanent.
Yeah, it's here to stay. It's gotten great reviews from everyone that smelled it. I love it. I'm gonna want it year round.
Yeah,
it's gonna be nice, and it is a big month. And we're gonna be throwing some stuff out on social media here, and we'll be doing the things so everyone keeps up on the dates. But yeah, we got three big ones this month. It actually looks like, God, it's basically every week for the rest of the month. Just
that's amazing.
Something crazy coming.
July 31st is our next commands corner. So we'll have to keep something special for you guys to drop and make that a cool night. So we got a big June and then hopefully an even bigger July, and keep things rolling in the down season of the beard industry. And
we got to have some fun, man. Everyone else is out there hunkered down, shaving their beards off. We're going to be, smelling great, looking good, and blowing everyone out of the water come November.
That's right. And Kevin B says, wash and conditioner, real game changer, like everything I've tried so far. That's beautiful. And James, this is the other side of things. It's not just about the products. It's not just about the generosity. It's not just about any of those things. It's also the customer service. James says, great customer service, very responsive. I had multiple questions and they answered them all. Dude, whether it's Instagram, like James reaching out, and James had some great questions for Dr. Nix this morning that prompted some of the things that we just told you guys about. But also if you Instagram, email, any of these things, this company's going to get back to you and take pride in that. So it's, absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And here's Justin says, maybe an unfair question. Well, this is the stream for unfair questions. If you guys are new here or you're not in here often, this stream was based on having long form transparency and essentially to be able to discuss whatever you guys are wondering, not in a soundbite, not in a little video short clip, but to do it in long form and also have no hold back. Whatever you're wondering, we want to go over. So he says, any idea how long Dr. Nick's beard oil lasts in ideal conditions? So I think he's talking shelf life, right? If we have it and if you're storing it in a dark place, it's not with sunlight, you don't have changes or fluctuations of temperatures, it stays nice and cool. What would be your estimate? Not like sell by date or anything. What would be your estimate on how long you think it would last?
Oh, I'm perfectly comfortable inside that 6 month to 1 year window. Once we switched out of grapeseed too, I used to say 6 months to a year was kind of where I wanted it to be a limit, because of the grapeseed. But now moving to sunflower, we can get well past a year of shelf life. I would just worry about the oxidation of the scents. You probably get some scent dissipation once you get to that 12-month mark.
especially
Um,
being an essential oil blend. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So I'd say ideally you'd want to have it used between 6 months and 12 months. I think that's like my happy place for it. But from like a from like an oil spoiling perspective, I mean the carriers in this one are going to last years. You know,
Two
it
to
could
three
last
years at least.
absolutely two,
Yep.
3 years. You're totally safe with this carrier blend. And the only thing you'd be lacking is your scents probably dissipate by then because they're essential oils, right? They're not fragrance oils. I actually take that question as three questions though. So one, how
Right.
long, what's the shelf life? How long does it last? There's that one.
Yep.
The next question I could pull out of that is how long does it last? Like if I buy a bottle, how long am I going to be able to use it? Right. And
Right.
obviously that varies quite a bit between length of beard, when you're applying and how much you're
How
applying.
oily your skin is. Yep.
Yeah. Like if I stick with one, like personally, if I stick with one scent all month, I go through a bottle in a month, right? Or more.
Half a bottle or 2 bottles probably.
That's what I mean. I could probably go through a bottle and a half in a month.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably, because I do use butter with mine quite a bit. I think I am about a month per bottle.
Okay.
And especially since I'm focusing on the hair too.
2 bottles
You're
per
about,
month for me because
you're about two.
especially lately, the last like 2 weeks, I've taken showers in the morning and at night just because I
Oh,
got
so you've been doubling it up.
normally I do oil in the morning and then butter at night, but for the summer and I'm sweaty and I got sunscreen. I hate sunscreen with an absolute passion, but especially on like my tattoo and stuff. I'm being safe,
Dude.
and I don't want to mess with skin cancer and all of that. So I've been doing morning and night. It's an easy, and I've been using more lately of the oil. Like for your dropper, I use 3 full droppers, dropper tops on mine currently. And
that's where I'm at.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I do a solid 3. And then I guess the third question you can get from that is how long do the scents last? As far as when they're in beard, and you're going to get a couple hours of real noticeable scent out of it. But the nice thing there is we're not going to dictate what you can wear with it, right? You can wear literally any one of our oils with any cologne you have, and give it an hour outside. You're not gonna have any conflicting scents going on.
Yep. And I'll add a fourth one in there. Is any idea how long Dr. Nick's beard oils last in ideal conditions? How long does the effect last in your beard? Let's say you're inside in air conditioning all day. Mine is, my answer could only be all day because I will go to bed and it works genuinely. Literally, I've never been at the end of the day and been like, oh man, I'm starting to feel like it wore off. I haven't experienced that with Dr. Nick's.
And I attribute that to how high absorbing it is. I think a lot of people, when they use it and they get it in their beard and it goes away so quick, they're used to feeling like a little bit of a greasy film on top of their beard.
Yep.
And I feel like when people use our stuff, they're going to not feel that. They're going to say, is that normal? And then they'll go throughout the day and they'll still not notice anything greasy. But at the end of the day, they're not dry and they still feel conditioned. And it's because there isn't anything sitting on top of your beard dissipating. It's like it soaks in and it's there.
Yep, absolutely. And Leo says industry standard seems to be 20 drops per dropper, 600 drops per ounce. 600 drops per ounce for sure. That one is pretty easy to prove. The dropper one, I'm finding more and more difficult to give any kind of number of drops, Leo, to a dropper because they can all be the same size. I have yet to find droppers that are sucking up the oil in a consistent manner from company to company.
The rubber is always different sizes, and that changes the air volume that's moving through the pipette. So some might suck up halfway in the pipette, some might suck up all the way in the pipette.
100%. So I struggle with that one because I used to communicate this exact same thing, and it doesn't work out that way. It's just better to know about how much you need in your hand and kind of just have a general concept of that. So
I do like the drops per ounce though, because that's pretty damn accurate.
That one is accurate. I think it's like 620, something like that. It's
something like that.
Yep. So no doubt.
This reminds me of like my spreadsheet when I was first formulating fragrances, and I was like trying to figure out how to scale them up. And I was like, okay, I have a Petri dish that's got 6 drops of this essential oil in it, 4 drops of that one, and 5 drops of that. Like if I wanted to scale that to be a 2-gallon batch in a carrier, how much essential oil will I need of each?
Yep, absolutely.
Ended up making a crazy calculator in Excel to figure that out way back in 2015.
In Leo, I think there's 2 main factors in how it is. And Justin, they're glass bottles. They're beautiful. Do you have one next to you, Nick?
I have one unlabeled.
Okay, this is the beautiful. Let me show you here real quick. and this is the growth stimulator oil that will be coming out this month. So most of the oils are not that color, but it's a beautiful bottle, really classy labels.
Yeah,
So
cool.
yeah,
Bottom
Justin
stamps.
and me and Justin talked last night, and Justin has followed the channel for a long time. Justin, man, bottom of my heart, give this company a try. Like truly give. And you guys know I don't speak in terms like that, but give this company a try. It really is. They say experience the Dr. Nick's difference. There is. And but Leo, yeah, the volume of the rubber. There's two main things I have found that make the difference: the volume of the rubber, but also the seal that the top gives. There's a lot that don't seal very well, and so it just doesn't have that what would be like a vacuum effect on the
Yeah,
inside to be able to suck it up, where like something like Dr. Nick's has that childproof top that has that membrane that gives it a better seal, and I
it
never have
does.
issues drawing up. I have like a 2-ounce bottle that will barely pull up just a little bit of oil, so I'm just like
You're like,
yeah, just going through. So that can be frustrating for sure. Yeah, really
man, yeah,
frustrating.
those are annoying.
Mhm.
But to your buddy who's considering, was that Justin?
Yeah, Justin. Yep.
I mean, that's what you just said. It kind of actually blends into our topic today
Right.
pretty well too. I'm
Yeah.
like thinking about it as you're talking. I was like, is that what people are talking about?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. And kind of on that way, I think that is a really good one. Totally will do. Thanks. Hey, absolutely, Justin. And Justin, reach out, man, if you need any specific recommendations. I got you, buddy.
He's got a
But
really similar beard to Chris W in the chat. That they could be like beard twins.
yeah, yeah. Chris had the video with Chris Cole, right? Wasn't that Chris
Yeah.
in the video?
Yep.
Killer beard, Chris W. Man, I loved that video. Really well
Yeah.
done.
That's a good video. That
So
was fun.
the topic of today, you guys, and we want to kind of discuss this. And actually, one of the people that spurred the inspiration behind this was Dan Beard of the North, and Nick was
Was.
featured on his show, and essentially in a roundabout way of asking, just to be blunt, which Dan is, he simply said like, "Hey, there's a ton of hype around your company. Is the hype real?" And we started discussing this, and Nick had a line that he hit me with. I don't even know if he remembers this, but it really, really resonated with me because I've never heard it. And to be transparent, guys, right? Oftentimes hype gets used around things that I like. If I'm like, hey man, this company's amazing, people will be like, oh, is the hype real? I need to test the hype for myself. Where's the hype? And it has a negative stigma. It has a
Does.
negative connotation with it. I've rarely ever heard that statement used in a positive way. I need to see what this hype is all about. I need to see if the hype is real. But there's another phrase that gets used in equal situations, but does not carry the same negative stigma. Do you remember what that was, Nick? And this was Nick that came up that had this thought, and it just like rocked my world.
Buzz.
Right. Wow, this
Buzz.
company has so much buzz behind it.
Yeah,
So
like, oh,
much
I gotta
buzz.
try this company that just everyone's buzzing about it. Like, oh, there's buzz everywhere about these guys. This is great. And then you could literally have the same commotion, right? The same activity out there, and someone can be like, this company's got so much hype around them, I'm never gonna try them.
Yeah.
So like where does hype stop and buzz begin? Or where does
Exactly.
buzz stop and hype begin?
Exactly. So if we break it down, when somebody refers to something as, is the hype real? There's a lot of hype behind this company. What does that mean? For me, and you guys in the chat, please feel free to drop a comment. For me, hype means people are talking this company up in a big way. People are sharing their positive experiences, but there's these underlining tones of distrust when the
Mhm.
term hype is used. Now, same situation. Someone says, oh my gosh, there's so much buzz surrounding this company. And I say this company, you guys, in general terms. This is just
Mhm.
going over situations. There's so much buzz behind this company. What does that mean? People are talking about this company and sharing their positive experiences. But there is no underlining tone of distrust. That is seen
Right.
as a positive light. So where's the difference? Why does something like hype get applied? And we're going to take this further, guys. And we're going to talk about the hype of Dr. Nick's. We're going to talk about why we think that has been applied. But do you know what I mean about the underlining tones of trust and distrust and why they get used separately? And it's almost a narrative that gets painted against. It's like, for me, I think hype gets used on companies that there's a lot of people that are insecure and they start to see those things and they know it's true. They actually
Yeah.
believe it, and that's their way of combating it. Then buzz is maybe it's an underdog type company. Maybe it's a company that just feels better to talk about, that just feels better to pump up because maybe it's not as much of a competition. Maybe it's not as much of a actual real belief that it's going to do anything long term, but the hype is one that scares people. The hype is like,
Yeah.
wow, this actually could be a game changer, right? This could be the hype of, I could imagine people at Blockbuster back in the day saying, dude, have you guys heard the hype of this Netflix thing? Like, I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of hype about this. And then guess what? It ended up being true, and there's no more Blockbuster. And so you would have never heard Blockbuster say, did you hear the buzz of Netflix? Wow, that sounds fantastic. And for me, that's just my takeaway. And we didn't even discuss that. Like, that hasn't even been between us. It's just simply what I believe it's used as, with those like underlining tones.
I think you're right. And that's actually, Leo said it here too. It's like hype and buzz start and end in the mind of the listener. I think it also in
I
the
disagree.
context of the listener, right? I mean, I think you're right, Leo, is that another way to look at it, what started making me wonder was, okay, was hype the same thing as buzz, but put out by the company or people who are paid by the company to put it out? Whereas buzz is more the same amount of activity, but coming from other people and coming from, outside entities. Does that what changes from hype to buzz? I don't know, because what's weird is we've actually had more of the latter, right? We've had more people talking about us and our products, I guess you'd say, than we actually talk about them, ourselves, really.
100%.
And but what's interesting is I have like two emails that are good examples. One email says, I was hesitant to try your products because of all the hype, but
Yep.
I'm glad that I did because it's all real. Then I have another email that says, I was excited to try your products because of all the positive buzz. So glad that I did, and I love them. So
Okay.
like that's literally an illustration right into
Yeah.
emails. Someone was hesitant because of
Yes.
hype, but they were excited because of buzz.
Yes. And I love Leo, and we love these discussions. I think that's how we get bigger, but I actually strongly disagree with this. I don't think in most cases, and I can only speak from my sample size, I don't think the difference of hype and buzz is the listener. I believe it's the person communicating, and I'll give you an example of this. Dan, the one who posed this question to you, and he said your response was fantastic, and he hates you less than everyone else now. He's too cool to say he likes people. He can't
Well,
let
no,
that
Dan
down.
would be a subscriber of Hate Date, where he would identify with people based on their common hatreds, not on their common joys. So the fact that he hates me less than other people is actually a huge compliment.
Massive from him. Massive.
No,
from
yeah,
him.
I'll take it, Dan.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
sir.
He knows what he's doing. But when he delivered that statement about, hey, why do you think there's so much hype behind your company? He was the one that delivered it based on the feedback he was receiving. People kind of like throw him stuff. That was not delivered in a positive way. It was not like, hey, Nick, why is there so much hype behind your company? Why is everyone loving your stuff? It was delivered in a, hey, man, why is there so much like a hype behind your company? And so
People say there's a lot of hype behind what you're doing here.
A lot
What
of
do you
hype.
say about that?
Yeah. So I disagree. I think in almost all cases, there is an actual implied tone when using, not listening, but when using those terms. Now, not everybody, right? If Leo used the term hype, I would not take it with any, because he is a very forward speaking. He is very clear. I wouldn't take it as any intentions there. But in the context of this topic, in the context of how stuff gets delivered, I think in most cases, it is delivered very purposely, very, very purposely. And like you said, you can change the inflection in your voice when you deliver these things. You can change the structure of the sentence when you deliver these things to try and really enunciate what you're trying to get across.
Dude, and I think you're right. And I think Chris made a really good point here too. The products do speak for themselves, and the people who use them talk them up. But he thinks the fact that being able to specify that it's a small company has helped him convince people to try it. And I think that's a really good point, is like when there's a lot of activity, you get this sense of like fake promotion almost, paid promotion, fake testimonial if it's a big company, when you hear those things about people talking about it. Because you just don't know where all of it's buried. Like, how is there some big marketing team sitting in a conference room somewhere coming up with all these things that supposedly John M said on the review on the webpage? Like, So I could see that. And then when you say, by the way, they're like a 2-3 person team that does everything small batch by hand, and you're right in Massachusetts, then maybe I think that does add a level of authenticity to the stuff people see. So maybe that reduces like the hype machine a little bit.
Don't get me going on John M comments over here, Nick. I'm trying to keep my blood pressure down.
Whoa, let's not talk about John
Come
M.
on. G squared. Very fair. I like this breakdown here. This is why we're discussing this, guys. We're not telling you anything. We're discussing it. We're having an actual conversation. He said, I think buzz might be perceived as natural, casual, low-key way of talking about something. A buzz. I can see that.
A low rumble.
Yeah, right. An actual buzz. Hype can be a bit louder and usually has an individual or group specifically talking it up. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Maybe for some people, and again, this is going to be semantics, but they matter because of how things are delivered. He says, this is just my theory. No, I like it. I could see maybe buzz as a precursor to hype, that buzz can lead to hype for some people, right? And I could see that. That's fair. Yeah.
I think buzz could easily turn into hype.
Right.
And then I think hype could maybe die out and turn into buzz.
And then into like deafening silence.
Yeah, could be.
Right? It's crazy when that happens. But Donald said, I think hype for me sets the product at a different level of expectations of what it is intended for. Can match the hype or leave you feeling disappointed. And that
I
can
see that.
Question for you, Nick, and be genuine here. Do you worry about that? Do you ever worry about the bar being set to, and I'll share my thoughts and my personal experiences after, but do you ever worry about being like, dang, Dan, like ease up, man, talking so highly about this, and ease up, guys. Like we got to meet expectations. Or does that that doesn't cross your mind?
I mean, to be 1,000% blunt, no, because you've never said anything that in my mind wasn't true.
I like that.
And so I think that's the first and foremost. And I think the next thing on that, as far as like looking, introspectively at that question, I don't think I'm ever worried about any hype that we create. Cause again, I feel that is anything we put out is genuine. So I don't ever feel like we put anything out that's going to set the bar too high for us.
And here's a really cool distinction, right? You're not worried one bit. Jill says she is worried. And here's where I think this is an amazing thing to compare.
This is perfect.
Jill, right? The key lime pie oil. Jill, would this be fair to say Jill was the facilitator, the creator, the person like actually in the weeds, developing that scent profile and mixing and blending and
1,000%,
creating it?
Of course.
So I wanted to make sure I was fair there, not overstating.
I have an analogy for this too, and I know where you're going. This is perfect. Yeah. Keep going.
So Jill is the one creating it. Jill, this is her baby. She's the one really putting this in. You're the one that gets to see it on the sidelines, all the work that goes into it, all the research, all the testing. You get to watch. You get to be proud. You know how amazing it is. You know the hours that went into it, but you're a step removed, and you get to sit back and reflect and just say, I know I have zero worries because I know how great this is. But when you're in it, when you're creating it, when it's your baby, it's easier to be worried about that. And then everyone else just believes in you. And I think that's what's going on there.
Dude, that's exactly what's going on there. Think about this is okay. So I can think of 100 analogies, but one that's relevant to you, right? Think about your son playing soccer, like going before a big game, right? You're confident, right? You feel good. You're excited. You're like, I know what he can do. I know he's going to go out there and do it. And I know he's going to do it. And I know he's going to kill it. But then your son, right, is like, crap, am I going to do this right? Am I going to do that right? Like, I don't want to let anybody down. I need to make sure I'm on top of this, on top of that, on top of this, right? He's going into game time mode. So he's thinking about what he knows could go wrong and what he knows his shortcomings are and where he knows that he needs some work, right? And there's things that he's nervous about, but you're not thinking about any of that, right? You've seen the practice that goes into it. You've seen the previous games. You know exactly what he's going to deliver. And if he doesn't, it's by no fault of his own, right? So I think that's the exact same mentality is, we have the framework to make amazing things, right?
Yep.
And Jill has a proven track record of making amazing things. So when she does that, I have full confidence that it's going to be awesome. And plus, we're collaborative the whole way through it, right? So it's like 15 samples turn into 5, turn into 3, turn into 2, turn into 1. And, I've seen that whole progression. I've been there the whole time. So I know what's good, what's bad, what we didn't like, what we did like. And what we put out is the finished product that we both have confidence in.
Yep.
So do I worry about the hype? No, because I don't see anyone saying anything that I think is setting the bar too high. Jill even worries about that with me, right? Like when I'm out there talking things up and I'm doing what I'm doing, and talking about our products and the way we make them and what comes out of it. She's like, hold on, come on, we're only this, we're only that, we're only this many, and she starts kind of rationalizing those things in her head. But no, me personally, I don't.
Man, I'm the same way, and Sam is the same way with whatever we're talking about, whether it's the kids, whether it's the channel, whether it's her shop. Man, I'm so proud, and I just speak highly, but honestly and accurately. And same thing, she'll literally be like, "Hey, dude, can you tone it down like for a little bit?" And you and I are wired such a similar way where it's just like, I can't. This is what I'm passionate about. I'm gonna speak about it, and people can say what they want. This is just how we are. Yeah.
Well, we're evangelists naturally, not in a religious sense, but in, like there's a position out there that I've been hired for a bunch of times by companies out there as a technology evangelist, right? And I'm someone who naturally consumes information and then is good at talking about what I've learned in a positive light, and that's the definition of that.
Huh. I couldn't even told you what an evangelist is. So learn something.
Dude.
Appreciate
yeah. Like the amount of times I've had a company come out and say, "Hey, we need someone to talk about this thing that we came out with this year at a trade show. And you're going to have 1,000-person audience. And you got 2 months to learn enough about this to be excited about it and answer questions when they come out of the audience."
Yep.
And that's like a role that I've taken on a number of times, right?
Love
Just as
that.
an outside evangelist coming in to talk about things. And I feel like you naturally do that. I naturally do that. We find the good in something and we talk about it.
And we're honest and it's practical. Yeah, absolutely. And to run through a few more of these great comments, G Squared says, and to like elaborate, he said, that doesn't mean hype is bad, but some perceive buzz as less potential for false grandeur. It's almost like, man, yeah, like I was saying, you can kind of protect buzz a little bit more. You can protect the company without setting up those expectations. And Ruben says, oh, that does make sense. Buzz is other people like bees buzzing around. Hype is generated at the source. And that's a tough one. It really is tough because in this case, right, honestly, I feel the products exceed the hype. And then here's where Brian has a great comment. If you make a great product and you're confident in it, you don't have to create the buzz for yourself. The public will do it. And I do think that's important because Dr. Nix takes the stance. Guys, there's some big things coming. I'm super excited for you guys to see how they're going to get their name out there and their products out there. But it's all predicated based on your feedback.
It's based on that. Yeah.
100% based on that. Dr. Nix does not want to go out and say how great their products are and stuff. They just want to be a platform to show people what you say about the products. And so, yeah, I think that's spot on. And some companies would be worried about that, would bow down to it, would try to soften it. And it's like, no, let people speak, man. If they're passionate about it, let them be passionate.
Oh yeah. Every bit of content that we're going to be using in our future marketing efforts, I mean, is all user generated stuff. There's no, like, our brand guide, like our style guide, our brand book, whatever you want to call it, as it's laid out, it details out. Most companies have like all of their ad copy in their brand book, and they have everything they're going to say
right
in an ad, or what people have as an option to put in an ad or a banner.
Many
or
of those.
Like that. Our style guides is colors, logos, taglines, and fonts. And literally every piece of copy that goes into anything that we put out that would be a banner or a thumbnail or anything else is all user submitted content. It's 1,000% from email and from review platforms.
Lots of them. Lots of them, which takes a lot of work, but it's so worth it. So worth it.
It is.
And I think Mark's right here. There's probably a lot of stories like this one.
So many
are in our subconscious, and we start associating. So a famous financial radio broadcaster was paid to create hype around a company he was promoting. The company turned out to be a fraud, and the broadcaster is being sued for $150 million. So from my side, right, I have a unique position. And like you said, right, I get to try these things and then I get to share my experiences with them. I am beyond careful to only share my honest experiences because I don't want to convey something that's not true. I don't want to have people that trust me now break their trust. I don't want something to turn out to be a fraud, to be these things. And that is really important. But for all of those situations, there's definitely some bad ones on the other side.
Yeah, and that's like the due diligence side that needs to go in.
Yes.
There's some recent case law that has popped up that has created the basis for lawsuits like this.
Yep.
And this didn't used to be the case because a spokesman or, look at what happened with like Tom Brady with
With
FTX and all that
Forex and
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, with FTX. I mean,
Yep.
it was brutal. Like there was people saying that like the divorce happened just to separate assets because of what was about to come from the FTX fallout, and it was all a big show.
Yeah.
Like but the concept of that didn't used to exist. Like you didn't used to be able to go after a spokesman
You're off
that
the hook.
advertised, for a product because they were contracted to promote something they didn't create. And if what they didn't create ended up not working or being dangerous, that was on the company's onus, not them. But now they threw in that if you're going to use your face and your likeness to promote something, you need to do your own due diligence into whatever that is that you're promoting, because if it doesn't go well, then you're liable for damages that people suffer from listening to your bad advice.
Yeah. No, it's that's for sure. It's an age-old situation of the general and the soldier.
Yeah.
Is the soldier accountable for what they did when they were given orders? Is the spokesperson accountable for what the company did? It's a really that's an interesting one. Interesting one. And on that
It's
same
changing.
topic here, I like this. Who was the one person that got approached for FTX when they wanted to offer a lot of money? Taylor
Swift. And it was because of due diligence, dude.
Correct.
And she, you know what? Like, obviously, I'm not she's a great performer. She does great stuff. I'm obviously not a fan of her music, but I will 1000% say that reading that article and reading that interview made me have a whole new respect for like the business mind that she's adopted through doing what she's done. And granted, I probably can't give all that credit to her. She's probably got a great team of people around her that make sure that she makes good decisions with her persona.
Which is
But
unbelievably valuable.
It is, a good PR team can make or break you, or a good one can make you, a bad one can break you. But there's like that whole thing. It was a perfect example of that. She said, no way. She's like, something doesn't smell right here. And to be fair, the thing that came back from her PR team that blew my mind that they had the acumen to be able to ask are you guys selling unregistered securities? It sounds like you are. And like even the SEC didn't know how to ask that question forever. And now these people in the private sector were. So I mean, it's just 1000% way more respect for
her dad is an investment banker.
Yeah.
So that'll do it.
Exactly. I mean, I imagine that has a lot to do with it.
Love that. And Justin says, I'm more than willing to try a product because of personal experience. Your about us section is really good. These things, there are things in your story, Dr. Nick, that I relate to, which is hence the reason to try it. And man, I tell every company that about us is so important, especially this story. Nick starting the company because he tried so many beard oils out there. He loved them. He loved the smell. He loved the design, the art. It just irritated his skin, finding out he's allergic to fragrance oils, and then wanted to create a company to address that. Also, he had skin conditions that he wanted to address. That story resonates with people. Why? Because it's real. It's true. It's actually happened.
And we're not the only ones out there with that issue, and you could decide to take that two ways, right? You could either create a business that, demonized the things that didn't work for you and attack them. And then once you got people on your side that those things were bad, give them a solution that's good. And we went the opposite way with it, where we told the story of what worked and what didn't mention any names. We don't knock anyone else down.
Absolutely.
We frame up the problem and then highlight the solution, right?
Absolutely.
Is the way we went after that. We were solution selling, not problem selling.
Yep. And I take what I say very seriously, as everyone in here knows, because of reasons like this. Chris said, I reached out to Dan before I tried Dr. Nick's, and he flat out said I would love it. And he was not wrong. And I say that because Chris remembers where he asked. He remembers that conversation that was months and months and months and months ago. And that was a good one. Imagine how much longer and how much heavier that conversation weighs If I said flat out, you will love it, and then you didn't, and it was garbage, that stays on people and that never goes away. And
Yeah.
so I just have to accurately describe those things. And I mean it, man. I don't speak in absolutes often, but I just feel that this is something for everybody to try. Yeah, I really, really, really do. And
You know what
so
I feel like too with our stuff, and I
yeah,
feel like it's safe for you to say that is because I feel like the carrier just works so damn well.
yep,
Like even in its unscented capacity, like it's a fantastic oil. So even if, and we've had these reviews where people say the scent wasn't my favorite, but the oil was so damn good, I've used it all. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And so I feel like someone's gonna find something they like about our oil, regardless if it's their favorite scent, or maybe they want a scent that lasts longer, or they want something that's stronger. Fine, but I don't think you're going to get someone out there that's going to either have a bad reaction, it's
agreed.
not going to work, it's not going to make their beard feel good. So at the end of the day, the complaints can only really be so much, right?
Yep.
So you are really safe in saying that, I think.
For sure. And we know those things. Like, okay, it's not a strong enough scent. Okay, they're essential oils. This is like what the company's based on. Got it. Understand personal preference. Got it. But it's not like, oh, this was horrible. It made my beard fall out. Do you know how many of those messages I've gotten from not companies I recommended, but someone saying, hey, I tried this company from the store, made my beard fall out. What do you have? And then I offer this, man, and it's awesome. So Justin says, some beard butters I tried can smell somewhat different than the oil. Do you find that at all? So Nick, Justin, right now, just to let you know, their butters are unscented. And if you want to make it a scented butter, you just scoop out your desired amount, add a couple drops of the oil in hand before you melt down. And scented butters could be something on the horizon
Mm.
that is in the works for Dr. Nix.
Yep, absolutely. And I would say in our case, it's going to be very, very slight. What I would say the difference is that shea butter has a natural little bit of a scent to it, and so does some of the other butters that are in there. So you get that in combination with the essential oil. So in that sense, it could change a little bit. But what's interesting is fragrance oils change actually much more depending on the material you put them with. Oddly enough, they do mask the other things quite a bit more,
Right, right.
but they do actually they transform quite a bit.
Yeah.
But essential oils, stay, they're pretty, they're, not to use the word, overuse the word transparent, but I mean, they are pretty transparent. They let
Well,
the underlying notes come through, but they
yeah.
themselves stay largely the same.
It's a natural oil on a natural vehicle, so they are able to work together. And Donald has a good comment here, guys, and we're working through the comments. If you type something, we're getting there. He said, but can't the hype impact future products? Interesting. I feel the future products better match the hype, or the company lost its direction in some way or got too big.
Oh yeah, I agree with that,
For sure.
because we've said it on this stream quite a bit too, that the bulk of our product development roadmap is based on feedback.
Yes.
So if that feedback has created hype about a certain thing, right? That's, yeah, 1000% right there. What Joel just said,
Joe killed it.
I think that's huge, right? Our customers and friends are the absolute best at sharing their experiences with the products and the bearded community. And, I think that influences our product development a ton. So,
Yep.
We do follow what I guess you could say the hype is around what we're doing. And it does impact our future products.
And I
And I
will
think
say
if we
too,
stop doing that, you're right. It's a sign that we've lost our way.
and I will say that Dr. Nix has done it the right way. This has been a really big year for their company as a resurgence, because as many of you know, they were out in 2015, and then life happened and pandemic and all this stuff. It had a huge year, but it wasn't done by tossing $10,000 at an ad agency and having this rush of just casual clickers that are trying the stuff and then I don't like it. It's not like they were thrust into the fire. They did it systematically, the right way, the gradual way, and are doing it at a level they can handle. They got new machinery, not all at once, not in the same day, but okay, let's upgrade here. All right, our butter production's really taken off. What can we? Okay, let's get a new machine that can pump out more butters. Okay,
Mhm.
well, what about a frit? Well, all right, let's get a bigger frit. And every step has just been natural, organic growth, just like the products. And I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that's important.
it's the organic growth. I mean, it makes it sustainable, and that way like I keep a really close eye on our reoccurring customer rate. Like what percentage of our orders every week are new customers versus, repeat customers. And we're very, very happy to say, we have a 80% reoccurring customer rate every
Wow.
week. And that's huge for us. And when that number, honestly, if we start going out there and putting some Google awareness top of display network ads and things like that to protect the branding, when people are searching for us, they find us, not competitors, and things like that. I would say that if our new customer rate ever gets to the point of over 50% of weekly order volume, we will likely turn down the volume knob on whatever machine is driving that, right? Because I like to maintain that over 50% right now, way over 50% recurring customer rate, because I think that speaks volumes. And you've then created a community of people. You haven't created a faceless customer base, right? And that's a good sign that you're doing that.
Love that. Here's a great comment by Jim here. He says, I give my experience with the products, and I send the link to the TV interview, and I let Nick and Jill speak for themselves in their very humble way. Love that. Absolutely love that.
That's awesome, man.
Yep, absolutely. When do we get scents? Any timeline for looking at getting scents in the butter?
No timeline for that yet. We're gonna get through this month of
Yeah.
releases, and then we have some label art and some other stuff we're working on this month and in July.
So
I
probably
would say once we're
winter.
coming off, once we see the light at the end of the tunnel on the stuff that's actively getting worked on, I think that'll probably be next, especially getting ramped up for fall and winter. I would
And it's
say
like
I'd be looking.
get out of the warm butter melting season too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah, exactly right. Like I wish I had a teleporter, just to transport immediately our butter from the shop to people's houses, because the summer months, I've already been challenging with shipping butter.
Yep. And Chris says, reaching out to Dan about Dr. Nix was one of the best decisions I ever made. Wow, big statement. I started with a recommendation, turned into finding this great community. That's
Dude, and
beautiful.
Chris, you've been such a huge part of it, man.
For sure.
Like you really have. I mean, all the way down to one of our new releases this month. Look at that. He reached out to Dan to ask an opinion. He got an opinion. He tried it. He loved it. And then fast forward less than a year, and there's a scent profile that's based around his wedding night.
So cool.
I mean, that's so cool to be able to say.
Yep.
We're actually going to ask for a little snippet of your motivation for that, Chris, for the product display page. If it's okay, I want to be able to put a blurb from you on the creation of that scent and credit you for being the influence for it right on the product page.
Heck yeah. And
so maybe a little paragraph from you on that at some point when you have time would be awesome.
perfect. And speaking of paragraphs, this is always easy for Nick or I to do, but we have about just over 6 minutes left. So for our future responses, no paragraphs for us here. But IPA, you drink IPA beer, you use IPA. I love IPA. It's probably my favorite scent. I hate to say it, it's probably my favorite scent, but does it smell like hops? What would be the actual smell?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to get a nose of if you had a package of freeze dried hops and you opened it up and you put it away, that lingering musk that you get from hops in a bag is literally what you get as an underlying back note to that entire scent profile. So you get some citrus, you get some floral, you get some other stuff, but the underlying note that you're going to get is hops.
Love it. And Jason says, yeah, after talking to Dan about Dr. Nick's products, I'm very happy to make my first purchase. Love that. And this is everything I say, no matter if it's this company, any company, it's always like I'm speaking to a good friend. That's always my lens is I try to make every video, every message about speaking to a good friend. Well, it just so happens that Jason is a good friend of mine. I'm going to be seeing him on Saturday. And so that speaks volume when it's a guy. He's actually a big, tatted up, biker, scary looking dude. I'm telling him, try this company. Now, I think you should try it. Here's a couple of options. No. Try this company. And then he tries it, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. And yeah, what people are saying here is totally true about IPA. And the fact that it's your favorite scent and you don't like beer. You don't like beer. You don't like the smell of beer.
No.
You don't like the taste of beer.
No.
You don't like the smell of beer on people's breath or their clothes or their beards. And you love IPA. That's your favorite.
I do. I do. Now, I know the answer to this one, and I love doing this show too, because oftentimes I'll do interviews or I'll work with companies, and I feel like I have to like guide and then like mold their answer. And I'm like, I know, Nick, I know exactly what Nick's going to say here. How much consideration do you put into what other beard companies do? Therefore, what Dr. Nick should do?
I look at other companies, what they do, honestly, and what not to do more than I look at what to do, because we are so different than most other companies, right? We're not going for the cologne scents. We're not going for the long lasting fragrance oils that you're going to smell like your beard all day, right? And so I think we have this unique opportunity in our spot to actually go a different direction most times. That said, I think, beard butters got popular with other companies before we ever made one. So everyone was making, and then what we did, how do we do the Dr. Nick's version of a beard butter, right? And so I would say that from like a product category perspective, we obviously keep a pulse on the market, but everything that someone else does, we first think about like, okay, how do we do that, but do it differently? We've never done like a copycat product, right? We've never done something that someone else is doing and done it exactly like them before, and we don't ever intend to. So I think I look to what other companies do for a few things. One, of what not to do, and two, how can we do what's successful for other people, but do it in our own way?
Yeah, that's a fact. Sorry, I got caught off guard here. This one's heavy, heavy from Justin. He said this the first time about Dancy on a stream. Leader takes good people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be.
Oh yeah, and that's so true.
That's heavy.
That's so true. That's dead on. That's like the difference between a leader and a Sherpa, right? Like,
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. Uh, I don't believe there's any set dates, but Nick, whatever you have on this one, the key lime pie, the growth, I know they're next. I know they're this month, but are there any inklings on dates? I would assume a Tuesday probably on a stream.
I would assume so. Yeah, I think like we can just set it right now live here if we'd like to. Let's just call the release of Key Lime. If all things go well and we don't have any bumps in the road by Friday, let's just say we're going to drop that next Tuesday on the 13th.
Wow. Okay.
I think that's a reasonable place to put that. And then I would say, growth serum is going to be, we'll figure out which week we're going to be doing that later this month. But then Christmas in July is obviously the 25th of June, right? So it's not necessarily in July. Half Christmas is 6/25 instead of 12/25, but basically 6 months before Christmas. So we will probably make that the launch week for Yule Tree is that last week here in June. So probably the 27th.
All right. So Yule Tree.
We might
Oh
be
my
cheeky and
gosh.
actually drop it on the 25th, and then we'll talk about it on the 27th. But let's see.
Perfect. Okay, that'll be the stream. The stream focuses there. Love that, guys. I'm getting all this down in real time. You guys got to see it be birthed here, so that is pretty
Full
cool.
transparency.
Yeah, exactly. And we're coming down to the nitty gritty here, but I just love these questions. You guys have a way of holding on to us here. But Donald, always digging deep, man. Such a good question. What would you prefer the hype to be about? Products, range of products, roadmap, customer service? Do you need it all? Is there a preference for you, Nick?
I would want the hype about us to literally be about the products and our customer service if I had to pick from that list. Right. I don't want people always hyped up about what's coming. I find that when you're always looking forward to something, you're never really appreciating what's there. I'm one of those people, right? I used to have to look forward to things to stay motivated. And now I find that's not healthy. So I love the hype to be about what is here, what is now, what we have. And I don't want there to be this FOMO attitude. I don't want to be the place that lists stuff up and you have to go there before it sells out, that kind of thing. I don't want to do that. And I want everyone to know that the customer service piece, I want everyone to feel that. And if there's hype around it, that's great. Like I want people to know that if I buy from this company, they're going to take care of me and I'm going to be part of the family and they're going to treat me like it.
Facts. Facts. And speaking of that, Mark is a big time beer lover and music lover. Mark, you are going to love IPA. I've met Mark, I don't know, Mark drove me back to my hotel in Florida. Like, that's how close I am with Mark. He is just a great guy. Mark, you are going to love it with a burning passion. It might be one of your top, if not your top ones. I'm going to go that big for you because I
You're
know
gonna
you
love
and
it,
your
dude.
preferences. Yeah, it's so dang good. And yes, next Tuesday, Chris is going to get you a blurb out today or tomorrow for the website. Perfect.
Thank you, Chris. Love that.
Awesome. Man, thank you, Whiskers and Whiskey. Hey, I cannot believe, but yeah, it's already 2. That's
Where,
silly.
where
But
did the time go indeed, Chris?
I'm like, every week, I'm like, all right, I got to stop saying this about how fast it goes. But how fast does that go, man? That's nuts.
So fast. Like last week when we were doing this, it literally seemed like the stream lasted like 15, 20 minutes in my head. Like it
Yeah.
just, I looked up and it was 1:58 and I'm like, huh?
Yeah. And this one might be even faster. Like it's crazy. So Justin, yep, on the website there, you can go to the scent page if you would like. And then on the scent page, you just simply click the IPA. It'll bring up the IPA oil for you there. Or you can go to products. And then from the product page, you can click beard oil. And then what that's going to do is scroll down and you'll see IPA right on the website. So 2 different ways, depends on, and I found it's been really interesting to get to know consumers and companies and websites. I've found there are 2 different types of shoppers. There are shoppers that go to the product and then they select their scent. Then there's shoppers that go to the scent and then they select their products. And it's just one way or the other how their brain is wired.
And we have both.
Right. As any company should. It's a beautiful roadmap there.
Oh my
gosh. Guys, next week, news to me. I'm excited. I'm going to get to working on creating the show. We're going to launch the key lime pie, which is in beard. I was genuinely pleasantly surprised and cannot wait for some of you guys to get to try this, to launch a new product. Nick, final thoughts, take them away.
Oh man, I'm pumped. You know, I think we're taking long form transparency to a new level with this one, right? We're like now discussing launch dates and putting pen to paper on things right on the stream. So, you know, hopefully you guys are starting to feel that, you know, we're practicing what we preach here,
right.
like always.
If I could pause you 1 second, I didn't mean to meant to be done. But speaking of like actually practicing what you preach, guys, their last launch was the X's and O's, right? They had me try it, and you can ask them. I told them, I'm like, it's not really my thing. I said, I think people will like it. There'll be some people out there, but it's not really my thing, right? I was very honest. I was very open. Now, the next one that I've tried, the next like new scent is key lime pie. Nick asked me to share my thoughts on stream in real time, and they had zero indication of if I liked it in any way, shape, or form. Literally did not discuss this, and he asked me to share my thoughts after telling him the last limited release I didn't really like. Like, that shows
here
you.
we are throwing it right out there in front of you guys this time. Like,
right.
All I had from feedback from Dan was, didn't have time to try it yet. I'm going to be putting it in beard later this morning. And I was like, cool. I'll ask him about it on the stream. That was literally my first thought.
He didn't even tell me that. So, all right. Sorry. I just had to cut in. I'm like, because that's the transparency right there.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, man. I love it. You kidding me? The blind taste test right here live in front of all of our friends. Why not, man? It's
so cool.
It's a good place to do it. But with that, man, I'm pumped for next week to get this in front of you guys, get it shipping next week so you guys can try it. And again, thanks for being here. Thanks for helping us figure out the difference between hype and buzz. And I think based on all your comments, I got a better idea in my head than I did when I got on the stream today about what the difference is and what it means to different people. And that was cool. I learned something. I feel like maybe some people in here learned something, which, I mean, you can't really beat that. So let's keep it going. We'll do it again next week for episode number 41.
All right, guys, we will see you next week. Have a